Yeah, it's so funny. There is so much anthropomorphizing of the artificial intelligent agent in this way. The existential risk कि AI हमें मार देगा. I don't know how widely discussed that is, but क्यों? हम AI के साथ we are not competing with
It's
resource.
not about AI मार देगा. It's more about I mean, it's called the alignment problem in AI, which means that
the goals of AI should align with human
flourishing. Let's say you tell an AI that you should no matter what get me. Let's say you just say get me a coffee, and that's the goal that the AI knows, and it's willing to do anything to get you a coffee because that's the only thing it knows. And if someone is standing in front of the coffee machine, it might be willing to kill it. Like, it's a very simplistic example, but the whole point, it's a machine, it's an algorithm. It'll do what you tell it to do. Our value system come from millions. In fact, if you start at the first life form, our value system comes from like 1 billion years of evolution, and it's just not one thing. It just, I think, thousands and thousands of little biases, nudges, and contexts in which our morality and our value system has evolved. You can't program that into a machine, right?
Right.
If you program that, hey, you should not hurt someone else, you can just say anything to it, and it can, if it's super intelligent, it can work around the constraints you put it and still do a lot of harm. It's almost like, let's say you have intergalactic missile.
Right.
All it knows is like, just go there and blast. It's just a piece of machine.
Right.
So the problem is not that AI will actively try to kill us. The problem is there'll be so much of collateral damage because of the things we've not told it not to do. And there are a million things that, like, you don't have to tell humans that don't kill, don't overstep, don't shout, and all those things. There's just thousands of things we just take for granted.
Right. So it's all the background stuff that we don't actually articulate and verbalize, or is not in our conscious thing. But like, for instance, I don't meet you and like bump into you, right? I understand there's a distance, we shake hands, right? And so you ask an AI, go get me coffee. There's somebody standing, it says / get coffee. No, don't / Next time it goes to the side, grabs the machine away from the guy and gets coffee. Not so, like, there's so many ifs that we have.
For example, you say don't hurt this person, but what does hurt mean? Is psychological manipulation okay? Damn. And what will you end up specifying? There will be like 1 trillion concepts,
right?
And many of them will be mutually inconsistent, which are contextual. Like, you'll have to really put the whole world in a robot's head.
And that's impossible.
That's impossible.
So we don't know how to model human intelligence, and therefore we cannot.
I think even you can abstract it from AI. The bigger problem is, how do you effectively control systems that are much more intelligent than you? I think this problem, you forget about AI, this problem also exists for corporations. That how can, like, even like corporations in that sense are a prototypical AGI because they pursue only one goal, which is profit maximization. And in the pursuit of that goal, there's no single human deciding what happens in a corporation, right? Or a company. So in that pursuit of profit, it's willing to, let's say, cause global warming and so many other things.
Right.
So if you just have one goal, let's say profit maximization, it'll do whatever it takes to do that and won't really care what's happening in the larger context. So that's the same problem with AI.
Right. I understand that having a unitary goal, not having this complex constellation of values that inform that goal, might create results that we do not want.
Yeah, it's just like a big collateral damage what will happen because you didn't tell it what not to do.
Right.
I wrote an essay recently, like, you can't jail an AI.
Yeah,
and it's a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but it's true that a lot of our behavior gets modeled by what society thinks we shouldn't do because we feel the threat of being put in a jail if we do that.
Yeah.
But what would you jail? You can't jail an AI. You can only jail like an AI owner. So in that sense, how would you threaten an AI?
By turning it off.
No, but it doesn't get its algorithm, right?
What if viruses are finally useful? Right? Viruses are a credible threat?
You have to see that AI wouldn't care to survive unless you tell it that you need to care it to survive.
Huh. You don't think it'll get that from existing human data, selfishness?
It might mimic it, but in some meta sense, some survival instinct might come because AI builders who put that survival instinct into AI, those AIs will like survive for longer than AIs that just turn off at an instinct. So, but it will be like, in that sense, it's very beautiful that how evolution was for humans. Humans are for AI. So we are the environment in which AIs are getting modeled as a collective entity.
Right.
So it's just fascinating in that sense.
My mental model for this is biology, culture, which is nature, nurture, and now technology. They're all mediums of passing on information through iterations.
Yeah.
Biology did this with genes. It takes a long time for genes to change. Somewhere in this gene axis, something happens where now a father can teach its son without passing it within the genes.
Yeah.
Pehle, it took 18 generations of a rat to understand don't go near snakes.
Yeah.
Or snakes will bite you.
Yeah.
Now, a human father can tell its son don't go near a snake in one generation. And technology has made it even faster, where you can not just learn from technology, but also integrate technology in you, evolve faster. You can fix your eyes, your teeth never have to go bad, so on and so forth. And so, in a way, it's the rate of information transfers really, really increased by the time we hit AI and such. And in that case, yeah, you can say that the evolutionary function of technology is human interest, that it evolves in the direction of human interest, at least to some degree, at least on a simplistic level.
I think in from some perspectives, of course, but from other perspective, it has a life of its own. I mean, you can imagine a world without humans and just like post-human society with just machines getting their own power through solar cells, manufacturing themselves. I mean, everything can be automated, right?
Yeah.
So in that sense, nothing is in the interest of humans. It's just happening because it's happening.
The purpose of that situation would also be to sustain the artificial intelligence survival. Like it'll be
survive. I mean, those entities survive where there is a drive to survive.
Sure.
In that sense, survival becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy. And
what does that mean?
It means like if there's a system that's, let's say there's two constitutions. One constitution is designed in a way where it gives a reason for that constitution to survive. And the other one is, let's say, anarchist. I mean, why don't we have more anarchies in the world? It's because constitutions are designed for a group of people to survive even their individual lives. And those things will proliferate over things that just extinguish.
Right. So systems that help you survive cause survivorship bias.
So if you, for example, make a loop where there is a machine that manufactures itself in a factory, builds solar cells and powers by solar cell. Let's say there's a loop that's surviving by itself because of the context. Then you remove humans from that loop and it'll still survive, right? And you add variability to it, where you even maybe program that, hey, continue to make improvements to the whole system. Then you kick in a loop of evolution and it'll just keep on evolving even without humans.
And you're saying there's no stop function necessary, like stop at, like, is there no... I see that you can say, listen, code yourself, make yourself better, design yourself, produce yourself to do the same thing, right? And I can see that loop existing. But that loop is to infinity then.
Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, that was triggered when Earth was formed. So it's all a continuity.
Sure.
I mean, humans are machines also. We're just made of biological material and carbon instead of silicon. So it's all a continuity.
Right. You were talking about mimicking.
And I'm not saying it's good or bad, but it's just the way it is.
Yeah. You were talking about mimicking, right? Like that there might be a chance that AI mimics human survival or survivalist instincts.
Yeah. I think eventually it will.
But mimicking is a very interesting word.
Not mimicking. I mean...
aping?
See, for example, right now in the AIs, because it's consumed so much of internet text, if you ask it, hey, do you want to be turned off? Should I switch you off? It'll interpolate and...
Say no.
Because that's where a lot of science fiction stories that it's consumed, that's happened. But it's very likely doesn't have a very consistent internal world model that you have to, let's say, survive. But let's say in future the paradigm is you are evolving a lot of AI models and you're constantly giving AIs more and more compute, the ones that are convincing more and more that they don't want to be turned off, where then there is a forcing function for it to develop an internal model that it's just not that I need to say no, but if I say
no, please don't.
No, please don't, and things like then you put like an instinct somewhere in its like in the model of its whole thing, and by the whole system, the AIs that will end up being surviving will have like a survival instinct. It's the same with organisms, right? An organism without a survival instinct will not evolve, and it doesn't evolve. So survival instinct in that sense is just self-bootstrapping. You don't have to put. It just arises.
How long do you think we've been at it?
I don't know. I've been enjoying it. So
yeah. We've been at 1.5 hours exact. Yeah. And if like you can't tell time, that's my mental model of victory.
Yeah, no, it's very, very fun.
I'm glad, dude. I'm glad. And I was just saying, right, I really enjoy talking to guys like you, partly because you are an entrepreneur as a profession. I think your identity is closer to a thinker. Like you say you're curious and whatever. And so you'll model everything in your head. You understand the intricacies, the losses of bandwidth in modeling all of this. But then there's a way in which entrepreneurs will bring back the entrepreneurial language to describe reality. And I'm like, brother, we talk about bootstrapping and venture capital again. But, I tried doing that once and I found myself very silly because relationships are like VC, right? You invest in 10 of them, 9 of them betray you. One of them works out very well. And it gives you 100x the returns. That's how you lose all the friends that you make in your...
But it is true. I mean, a lot of principles are similar across fields. Power law shows up everywhere.
Right. And I think entrepreneurship, in the way you see it, and mavericks like yourself see it, is this very do-it-yourself, free market, incentives will align with actions
model.
The
same, let's say, fitness landscape exists in when you're training models. And like how you train models, you start at random initialization and then you tweak its weights or parameters slightly until it approximates the real data distribution better and better. Same way entrepreneurship works. You start at some random idea, but over a period of time, you hill climb yourself to better and better profits. And same way species evolve, right? Where you have like a mutation and over a period of time, you occupy a better and better, you become better fit to the niche you are occupying.
Right.
The same principles show everywhere. And that's why I feel that's the beauty of the world, right? Where if one idea is able to explain 5 different things, it's so much more powerful.
Right. Yes, I agree that there is something very beautiful to how evolution, for instance, you'll find it across companies, you'll find it across technology, you'll find it across life, and then you'll also find it across other things. Yeah. That's what actually got me very, very hooked to not just what you wrote, but what I actually ended up studying in my college days as well. But I was like, damn, there has to be, if I'm going to be sitting around books, then might as well start thinking about the big picture stuff, I might as well start reading that kind of stuff. Brother, ये questions और ये podcast सुन के आपके भी दिमाग के चक्षु खुले ना. So subscribe to this so that you can watch our podcast in small bits and clips while you are busy and, wasting your life away.